Extinction events have periodically reshaped the course of life on Earth. They wipe out dominant groups, allowing others to radiate and diversify. None is more famous or catastrophic than the Cretaceous Paleogene, or KPG, extinction event 66 million years ago. This cataclysm was responsible for the demise of all non-avian dinosaurs and the birth of modern biodiversity as we know it. Similarly, the Ice Age, a series of glacial and interglacial cycles during the Pleistocene, dramatically altered ecosystems. It forced a new wave of selective survival among reptiles and other animals. The enduring mystery of which dinosaur lineages survived these cataclysms, how they managed to persist or adapt, and the putative contact between humans and dinosaurs remains a topic of scientific fascination and frequent cultural misinterpretation. Today, the existence of living Jurassic reptiles, such as tuataras and crocodilians, also begs the question of evolutionary continuity and adaptation across mass extinctions. Could humans have lived alongside these ancient creatures? Would our ancient ancestors have considered them monsters? Let's first consider some iconic non-avian dinosaurs like Stegosaurus and Brontosaurus. Both went extinct long before the asteroid impact, Stegosaurus around 150 million years ago and Brontosaurus around the same time in the late Jurassic. For them to survive, they would have needed isolated ecosystems shielded from climate collapse, food chain disruption, and competition. Such refugia are highly improbable on a global scale. Now, what about creatures like the Kraken? Its origins are based on giant squid sightings. Architeuthis dux is real and still alive today, reaching lengths of over 40 feet. Deep-sea habitats shielded many marine species from surface-level extinction events. The ocean's vastness and stability helped preserve ancient lineages. Consider Gigantopithecus, a giant ape that lived until about 300,000 years ago. It vanished due to climate change and competition with early humans. This shows that even large, formidable creatures could not withstand environmental shifts and human pressures. Mammoths and mastodons lived until about 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, overlapping with early humans. Human hunting and rapid environmental changes during the Holocene likely caused their extinction. Fossilized dung and cave markings confirm their presence in North America. Some mammoths even survived on Wrangel Island until 4,000 years ago, exhibiting island dwarfism and benefiting from remote locations that shielded them from hunting. Giant sloths like Megatherium also lived until about 10,000 years ago. Survival hypotheses include cave-dwelling populations, slow metabolism aiding in food scarcity, and camouflage. Fossil evidence suggests some lived near humans. So, why didn't these creatures survive in the long term according to science? Rapid climate change, like that caused by the Ice Age and asteroid impact, led to ecosystem collapse. Food chain disruption meant herbivores lost plant sources and carnivores lost prey. Human expansion, through hunting and habitat destruction, accelerated extinction. Low reproductive rates in large animals also made recovery difficult. This report integrates the latest scientific research, fossil evidence, evolutionary theory, and molecular phylogenetics to address these intertwined questions. We examine the fates of both avian and non-avian dinosaurs, explore the selective survival of crocodilians, turtles, and other reptiles at major extinction events, and critically analyze the evidence and probability of human-dinosaur contact. The impact of a 10 to 15 kilometer diameter asteroid in modern-day Yucatan 6 million years ago triggered a suite of catastrophic environmental changes. The impact released energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs, creating global-scale fires and mega tsunamis. An impact winter followed, with years of sunlight blocked by atmospheric particulates, leading to a collapse in photosynthesis and food webs. The resulting environmental stresses included drastic drops in temperature, acid rain, persistent darkness, and widespread destruction of habitats. This event led to the extinction of about 75% of species, including all non-avian dinosaurs, many marine reptiles, ammonites, and numerous plants and microorganisms. Tetrapods, weighing more than 25 kilograms, were almost entirely wiped out. Survival was restricted primarily to smaller and more ecologically flexible taxa, including small mammals, birds, crocodilians, and some turtles. Birds are the only lineage of dinosaurs to have survived the KPG extinction. Modern birds are direct descendants of theropod dinosaurs, specifically from Maniraptoran groups. This evolutionary connection is supported by extensive fossil evidence, with Archaeopteryx and Confucius ornis demonstrating shared traits between non-avian theropods and early birds. Key survival traits among birds included small body size, favoring those with limited food resources and ability to find shelter. Dietary generalism and seed eating allowed them to subsist on persistent or dormant food sources. Flight and mobility enabled birds to relocate in search of resources and suitable refugia. Endothermy and insulating feathers helped them cope with impact winter conditions. Ground-dwelling and nesting habits were advantageous in landscapes devastated by wildfires. An efficient respiratory system helped birds persist during periods of poor atmospheric quality. Finally, rapid reproductive cycles favored quick population recovery. Recent molecular evidence supports a genetic bottleneck, indicating that only a handful of avian lineages crossed the KPG boundary. Modern diversity radiated from these few survivors. Birds are thus living dinosaurs, and all extant bird species represent the only dinosaurian survivors of the KPG event. Despite the survival of birds, there is no credible evidence that any non-avian dinosaur lineage persisted beyond the KPG boundary into the Paleogene. Occasional reports of dinosaur fossils in younger rocks have been overwhelmingly interpreted as reworked fossils. These are older bones redeposited in younger sediments by geological processes, not signs of survival. No continuous or unambiguous post-KPG non-avian dinosaur fossil record exists. Recent findings, such as a burrowing North American dinosaur with advanced olfactory senses, illustrate adaptation among late Cretaceous species. However, these species disappeared along with their contemporaries. There is no Paleogene record of their continued existence. The idea of Lazarus taxa, organisms thought extinct but rediscovered later, has not been substantiated for non-avian dinosaurs. The lack of fossil continuity, environmental feasibility, and absence from the mammalian-dominated Cenozoic record reflect a true and total extinction. The contested issue of Paleocene dinosaurs, with hypotheses claiming survival for thousands of years post-impact, is intensely debated. Most mainstream paleontologists reject these outlier interpretations. They affirm that birds are the sole surviving dinosaurs based on robust stratigraphic and molecular evidence. Crocodilians are notable survivors, representing the only large-bodied non-dinosaurian archosaurs to cross the KPG boundary. Their survival is linked to scavenging and dietary diversity, allowing them to subsist on carrion, invertebrates, and detritus. Their ability to endure fasting due to low metabolic rates was crucial. An aquatic lifestyle provided shelter in freshwater refugia, less affected by surface devastation. Generalist ecological strategies allowed crocodilians to exploit multiple niches. Physiological and genetic adaptability also supported their resilience. The fossil record reflects ongoing diversification of crocodilians post-KPG. Lineages including alligatorids, crocodilids, and caimanids trace continuous ancestry to Mesozoic forms. Recently, evidence has emerged that even large-bodied terrestrial crocodilians survived the KPG extinction, at least in South America. This challenges the assumption that only small or aquatic crocodilians persisted. Turtles and sea turtles also survived both the KPG extinction and later Ice Age events. Their ectothermic physiology meant low energy requirements, helping them cope with food scarcity. Their protective shell provided physical defense and a mechanism for surviving adverse environments. Many turtles found sanctuary in aquatic systems, buffered from the full brunt of surface ecosystem collapse. Remarkably, fossil evidence shows that the general body plan of Testudinas remained stable for over 200 million years, making sea turtles true Jurassic relics. A surprising recent discovery is that certain night lizards appear to have survived the KPG extinction extremely close to the impact site. This demonstrates that narrow-range, low-offspring species could sometimes persist when more robust animal groups vanished. Such survival challenges previous assumptions that only geographically widespread or high fecundity animals could cross extinction thresholds. These lizards may have survived by occupying subterranean microhabitats and having life histories less dependent on primary productivity. Most large marine reptiles, including mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, did not survive the KPG event. Their extinction is attributed to dependency on a food web directly tied to primary production from phytoplankton, which collapsed after the impact. Sea turtles were the exception, benefiting from more generalized and adaptable feeding strategies. Some amphibians and mammals also managed to survive, primarily by hibernation, burrowing, and adaptive feeding strategies. Select invertebrates with detrital food chains also persisted, highlighting the advantage of energy efficiency and flexible life cycles during mass extinctions. The Pleistocene Ice Age, spanning 2.6 million to about 11,700 years ago, was a time of repeated glaciation, harsh cold, and shifting ecosystems. Megamammals are famous victims, but many reptiles also faced novel survival challenges: reduced temperatures, habitat fragmentation, and fluctuating food availability. Reptile survival during the Ice Age was shaped by their inherent thermal physiology, adaptive behavior, and ecological plasticity. Many reptiles either retreated to refugia, such as caves, valleys, or southern regions, or evolved behavioral adaptations like seasonal dormancy, hibernation, or burrowing. Ectotherms can adjust reproductive timing, metabolic rates, and developmental strategies to cope with cold. Examples of Ice Age. Survivors include various species of hardy turtles and giant land tortoises. Some cold-tolerant snakes and lizards survived in pockets of suitable habitat or through burrowing and brumation. Crocodilians, though their distribution contracted, are found in Ice Age fossil assemblages in suitable wetland regions. Tuataras in New Zealand became isolated to offshore islands and survived glaciations, possibly due to their low metabolic demands. Ice Age extinction drivers for reptiles included climate change, as aridification and isolation of populations drove many smaller, habitat-specialist reptile populations extinct. Human impact in the late Pleistocene and Holocene also led to further extinctions, especially of large tortoises and easily accessible populations. The overwhelming scientific consensus, supported by paleontological, geological, and molecular evidence, is that non-avian dinosaurs and humans never coexisted. The last non-avian dinosaurs disappeared 66 million years ago. The earliest members of the genus Homo appear only 2 to 3 million years ago, separated by a more than 60 million year gap. Exceptions to this statement only occur when defining birds as avian dinosaurs. Thus, humans interact with living descendants of dinosaurs, birds, every day. But in the colloquial and scientific sense, dinosaur refers specifically to non-avian forms, which became extinct 66 million years ago. Numerous claims, particularly among creationist and pseudoscientific circles, assert that humans coexisted with or even domesticated dinosaurs. These claims are universally discredited by mainstream science and are based on misinterpretation, forgery, or deliberate hoaxing of evidence. The IKEA stones, for example, purported to show humans riding dinosaurs, but their origin as modern tourist forgeries has been admitted. The artistic depictions are inconsistent with true dinosaur anatomy. The Acambaro figurines and the Taprome Stegosaurus carving have also been exposed as fabrications or misinterpretations. The Paluxy River tracks, alleged to show human and dinosaur footprints together, were revealed to be eroded dinosaur tracks with human-like shapes. Artwork cited as proof of dinosaur knowledge is overwhelmingly determined to be a misinterpretation of more familiar animals, stylized mythological creatures, or the result of natural rock formations and modern alteration. Alleged dinosaur or pterosaur petroglyphs in places like Natural Bridges National Monument in Utah have been identified as stylized birds, sinuous snakes, or bighorn sheep. Ancient art is often highly stylized and requires careful, contextual interpretation, which differs greatly from modern scientific drawing. Science rejects these claims due to stratigraphic discontinuity. There are no dinosaur fossils in any Cenozoic age deposit where ancient human fossils are found, nor vice versa. Molecular and radiometric dating show a non-overlapping timeline for non-avian dinosaurs and humans. There is an absence of credible tools, artifacts, or remains linking non-avian dinosaurs to human habitation. There is strong evidence, however, that early placental mammals, including the ancestors of humans, coexisted with dinosaurs for a brief time before the KPG extinction. Recent fossil and molecular studies indicate that the origins of placental mammals predate the asteroid impact. Lineages leading to primates, carnivorans, and other modern orders were present at the very end of the Cretaceous. These mammals rapidly diversified and filled ecological niches post-extinction, eventually giving rise to humans. No direct or sustained interaction has been evidenced between any type of non-avian dinosaur and human ancestor beyond this brief temporal overlap in the late Cretaceous. Human ancestors never encountered non-avian dinosaurs in any paleontologically supported scenario. Across extinction events, especially the KPG, certain life history and physiological traits have consistently been linked to survival. These include small size and low energy requirements, dietary generalism and detritivory, habitat flexibility and refugia use, and thermoregulatory adaptations. Crocodilians have demonstrated exceptional phenotypic plasticity in gene expression and metabolic response to environmental temperatures. This enables both rapid short-term acclimation and long-term evolutionary change. Turtles, likewise, have utilized a combination of behavioral and physiological techniques to survive both immediate extinction pulses and recurring Ice Age cold snaps. After mass extinctions, surviving reptiles often underwent rapid adaptive radiations, filling vacant ecological niches and diversifying in morphology and behavior. Modern techniques in molecular phylogenetics and molecular clocks have enabled precise estimation of divergence times among surviving lineages. Molecular evidence supports the deep branches separating crocodilians, birds, turtles, and squamates. These estimates reinforce the recency or ancientness of particular clades and clarify why some Jurassic lineages persist today. Not all reptilian survivors are equally ancient. However, several modern lineages represent evolutionary holdovers from the Jurassic or even earlier periods. These living fossils include crocodilians, whose earliest forms appeared in the Triassic. Modern representatives like alligators and crocodiles owe their survival to thermoregulatory flexibility, generalist diets, and semi-aquatic lifestyles. Turtles, or testudines, date back 220 to 230 million years, with their basic shell configuration appearing early and persisting with minimal modification. All sea turtles and many freshwater and terrestrial species are modern representatives. Tuataras, Sphenodon punctatus, belong to Rhynchocephalia, once a dominant group of small reptiles during the Jurassic. They are morphologically almost unchanged for about 190 million years, possessing unique jaw mechanisms and a third eye. They survived on isolated offshore islands in New Zealand. Birds are direct descendants of Jurassic theropods, with Archaeopteryx as a critical transitional form. Modern birds radiated after surviving the KPG event. The great extinction events of the past, especially the Cretaceous-Paleogene asteroid impact and the cycles of the Ice Age, were global filters that reshaped the tree of life. The only dinosaurs to survive were birds, whose unique blend of evolutionary adaptations allowed them to cross the boundary that ended their relatives' reign. Other survivors, especially crocodilians, turtles, tuataras, and some squamates, did so by leveraging generalist ecologies, physiological resilience, and exploitation of refugia. Ice Age reptile survival too depended on flexible responses, migration, dormancy, and adaptation to fragmented habitats. The fossil and molecular record overwhelmingly refutes any claim that humans and non-avian dinosaurs ever coexisted. The oft-cited artifacts purported to show such contact are consistently exposed as modern hoaxes or misinterpretations. Crucially, several modern reptile lineages, birds, crocodilians, turtles, tuataras, offer living links to ancient reptilian biodiversity. They allow unique insight into survival and adaptation across deep time. Their persistence is the product of a combination of luck, evolutionary foresight, and for some, the fortune of geographic isolation. Continued study of these ancient survivors and their modern descendants not only illuminates the resilience of life, but also offers vital lessons for the future. Earth is undergoing another period of rapid environmental change. In summary, the major extinction events in Earth's history, though catastrophic, did not erase the legacy of dinosaurs and their relatives. Through birds and other living fossils, we continue to witness the evolutionary continuity and adaptability that shapes terrestrial life. Understanding these deep roots not only satisfies human curiosity, but also offers critical context for conserving today's biodiversity amid the ongoing sixth mass extinction.